Welcome back to Morning Sun Homestead. Today we're going to show you the process of what we do once these little chicks have grown into big birds. Throughout their lifetime, they're put on grass and fed the best feed. They use a lot of water, so we have to water them about 3 times a day, and we keep them in a pen that we can move around our yard. They are 14 weeks old, so it's time to butcher. First thing we do, of course, is remove the head. You'll have to see our video on that of what my husband built in order to help us be able to butcher in an easier way and not be so messy. We boil water on the stove. It needs to be boiling. You take it outside, of course, dunk the bird in, and then it's time to start to pick. Picking the feathers takes a little bit of time. Some of the first feathers that you want to pull is the tail feathers because they're bigger, so they're harder to get out. The whole bird is dunked in without the head. Then it's going to be picked very well. Pick around the bottom, down the inside, on the back, and then we're going to need to flip this bird so we can get the wing feathers out. If you're having trouble getting the wing feathers, sometimes you have to re-dunk it. Don't be scared to dunk the bird more than once in the hot water in order to get the feathers off. You can also set the feathers though if your water is too hot. So it's best if you just get it to boiling and then take it outside, and from there you should be okay. After we have plucked all the feathers, we bring it to a table, and sometimes we have people that pull more pin feathers. You know, we are hand plucking, not automatic plucker, so it doesn't do as well as what it would do with that. We need to cut the craw out. The craw is what grinds up the food for the bird. So, and just ignore some of the bugs that we have flying around. We are working outside. We did start early, but it seems like they're early too. So as you cut down, you want to make sure that you don't cut the breasts of the bird because that's where your good meat is. You can see this little air bubble, and a lot of times in the air bubble there will be some food. We just want to cut around it. If you happen to cut into it, just wash the bird very well, also your knife very well. And it's very imperative that you use a very sharp knife at this point. So all that's been cut out, here it is. You're going to cut some of the skin off, but we did not take any of the meat. Once we have that done, we need to get the entrails out. To do that, we're going to make a cut that is at the end of their breastbone. Now this needs to be pretty deep. Don't be scared to cut in here. You don't want to hit the guts, but you also want to make sure that you get it cut deep enough that you're going to be able to pull. Once you've made that cut, you're going to come down here to the vent, and on either side of the vent there is a hollow. We're going to make a cut into the either side. Let me grab a different knife. I think mine's already starting to get dull. Once we've made a cut into either side, we're going to flip the bird over, and we're going to cut this. This is they used to call it the greaser because during the Depression they would keep this and grease their skillets. Now there is a bone there. You're going to have to cut through that bone. And then you want to be very careful. Here is a main gut. We do not want to cut that. If you do, once again, wash your bird well, wash your utensils because there's a lot of bacteria in there. So you want to leave that, and then we're going to head over here to the trash can to pull everything that's internal out. One thing I failed to show was we got to cut up through here as well. When you make the slits on either side of the vent, you want to make sure that you cut all this open. So because your skin will hold everything in if we don't have it all loose. It all needs to be one big loose piece. This is a part that takes a little bit of strength, but you reach inside, you're going to grab everything that you can get in there, and then you're just going to pull. And as you pull, it's all going to come out. Now during this time, if you want to keep the gizzard or the liver, whatever you want to keep, now's the time to be sorting through there and getting that. And then you just want to reach back in and clean everything out as well as you can and pull it all out. Pull any fat that's hanging down loose. You can also pull out the vent pipe, anything that's in there. You want a hole that's open from the top clear down to the bottom. So when you wash, the water will run clear through. That's very important. Once we have everything pulled and we seem to be nice and clean inside, we're going to take it back to the table. Now we're going to cut the feet and the wing tips off. We use a saw with a normal blade. I think this is for wood maybe. And we just saw them off like this. whatever you do, don't throw these feet away. They're full of collagen, and you want to make sure that you view our video of how we show you what we do with those. These are nice and clean because our birds are kept on grass. If they weren't, you might want to do something with them, like putting them in a separate bag. You definitely don't want to mix them with your meat if they are dirty. And then we're going to cut off our wingtip. Just be careful that you don't catch your fingers. You can also use a knife at this one, on this one. It's a much easier, or you could use an axe on the feet. We've just learned that the sawzall is a lot quicker. Once we have everything completed and we have our bird, we take it and put it in a tub full of cold water until we're ready to disperse of them in our cooling method, whether it be the refrigerator or if you put them on ice or whatever you want to do. But it's very simple to butcher your own bird. Because we work so fast and do so many, we usually try to butcher 20 a day. And with us hand picking and everything by hand, it's a lot of work. So we just have a tub here with cold water, and we throw our chickens in them. When we get so many, then we take them off and we put them into our cooling to be able to be worked up the next day.